Your favorite stock is trending, but in which direction? Ask any trader their biggest fear and they will say, I bought the breakout and it crashed the very next day. That's where trend following indicators come in. They won't predict the future, but they will tell you when the market is actually moving in one direction. Today's episode breaks down 4 powerful tools to help you ride the wave and not get wiped out. Exponential moving average 10 and 20. Fast and slow EMAs together are like the compass for short-term and medium-term trends. MACD, the god of momentum. Use it for spotting reliable entries, not every jump and dip. Supertrend, the quick buy or sell signal tool, only works if you respect the trend. Bollinger Bands, stocks don't stay inside the band forever. Understand volatility before it explodes. देखा गया है जब ट्रेडर्स सपोर्ट रेजिस्टेंस में फंसे रहते हैं तभी मार्केट उनका स्टॉप लॉस खा जाता है. Indicators won't make you rich overnight, but they will stop you from making dumb mistakes. And sometimes not losing is the first step to winning in the market. Okay, so today we will start by understanding exponential moving average, which is a trend indicator. And we will also talk about what are the differences between exponential moving average and simple moving average. The simple moving average is basically when you take an average of a simple average of the last whatever time period. For example, if you're talking about, let's say 10 SMA, 10 SMA basically means that the average is being calculated on the closing price of the last 10 candles. Now you can do it on any time frame, a 5-minute time frame, hourly, weekly, daily, whatever time frame. When we do exponential moving average, then we do not just take a normal average of the last 10 candles. We assign more weightage to the candles which are near us in the time frame compared to candles which are far out. So let's say the latest candle will get the highest weightage and the first candle in this 10 candle series which will get the lowest weightage. So basically EMA will give more weight to recent price data than the older prices. So what are there are a lot of different advantages of EMA versus SMA, which we will also discuss going ahead. But let's start by understanding this point first, that it reacts faster to price compared to simple moving average. So basically it can be used to spot trends early, and we will have to use probably 2 exponential moving averages, one a short-term exponential moving average and a longer-term exponential moving average together to ensure that our directional decisions are correct. So in this particular chart, you can see that this blue line is a 10 exponential moving average and the red line is a 20 exponential moving average. And we will, of course, understand that what are the different implications which are being shown on the chart here. What happens when there is a crossover? What happens when the 10 EMA is above 20 EMA and below 20 EMA? And these are different implications, and we need to learn each one of this with due diligence. Okay, so we will first understand what are the key differences between SMA and EMA. So as we said, SMA gives equal weight to all periods and EMA gives more weight to recent prices. SMA is slower to react to price movement, and EMA is faster to reflect the market changes and hence is a better indicator. And SMA will have a higher lag. It will move slowly, or it will take a directional move much slower than the price, while the EMA has a lower lag. So SMA hence can only be used for a long-term indication setup. It will not be very responsive to short-term movements, while EMA solves this problem. So in our trading charts, we will actually use EMA and not SMA, and we will use 2 EMAs, 10 and 20, and we will discuss why we will use 2 EMAs. What is the utilization of EMAs in trading strategy? First of all, it helps to identify the direction of the trade. It can also act as dynamic support or resistance. For example, this is how the 20 EMAs, let's say this is a 20 EMA and price is doing like this.
So as soon as price comes down to this EMA, it can tend to take support on 20 EMA and then move upwards. It can happen on the 10 EMA as well. Now, longer the time frame, more strong is the support or resistance. Okay. The same thing, let's say this is the 20 EMA for a stock which is going down, and the stock price will actually can continuously do this, which is it comes down, it goes back, retraces, takes resistance at the EMA, again comes down. So these points where it is taking resistance are becoming your new entry points if you are on a short side trade. And in this particular case, this points becomes your entry point when you are on a buy side trade. Of course, EMA will have to be used along with other indicators and price action as well, so that you are taking a holistic decision and not taking a decision only based on EMA. But I would say that EMA is one of the most clear indicators. And a price, a lot of times you might have seen people saying that, okay, I bought and market फिर नीचे चला गया, मुझे समझ में नहीं आया, और मैंने सेल कर दिया, मार्केट फिर ऊपर चला गया, मुझे समझ में नहीं आया। ऐसा कभी नहीं हो सकता, क्योंकि अगर आप एटलीस्ट ईएमए देख रहे हो, the EMA will always tell you when the price has started reversing, and specifically if you are looking at a longer time frame, then the EMA signal will be very, very strong for taking a decision. There are a lot of EMAs that we can use 10, 20, 50, 100, 200, but because we will mainly focus on short-term trades like intraday or swing trades for a few days to couple of weeks, few weeks maybe. So we will mainly use the 10 and 20 EMAs for taking trading decisions. The other EMAs work well also, and longer the time uh, horizon EMA like 50 EMA, 100 EMA, these are more stronger support and resistances compared to a 10 and 20 EMAs. Okay, now we will understand why we are using two different types of EMS on the same chart and what is the implication of that. So as I said, हम दो EMAs use करेंगे, एक 10 EMA हो गया, एक 20 EMA हो गया. 10 EMA is an indicator of short-term price movement. 20 EMA is an indicator of medium time price movement. Why? Because as you clearly understand, 10 EMA is the exponential average of the last 10 candles. 20 EMA is the exponential average of last 20 candles. So 20 EMA is telling you a story which is much more longer in time horizon compared to a 10 EMA. So if a 10 EMA crosses above 20 EMA, which basically means the shorter time frame is more bullish than the longer time frame, it tells you that price has now started moving upwards in the near term, right? Within the last 10 candles compared to the last 20 candles. The same is true on the reverse side. When the 10 EMA is crossing below 20 EMA, it basically says that the near term trend is weaker or negative compared to the longer term 20 period horizon. Okay, so that is a bearish signal. So very easy. So let's say I will just reiterate this again. If this is your 20 EMA and the 10 EMA cuts it from below, this is a bullish signal. So when this particular uh, crossover is happening, you can take a bullish trade. On the other hand, when the price is going down like this is a 20 EMA, and the 10 EMA cuts it from above, then that is a bearish signal. And at this juncture, when this crossover is happening, you can go for a short trade. Okay. Let's see what has happened in this particular chart. And this is an actual chart of Tata Motors. Uh, this blue line is the 10 EMA and the red line is the 20 EMA. See here what is happening. The blue line crossed below the red line, which is the short-term 10 EMA crossed below the long-term 20 EMA, which is a bearish signal. And this can actually, uh, you know, lead to a decision of taking a short trade in options or futures as well, in intraday as well. Now, ideally, which are your points of entry? So you can enter when there is a crossover here, or if you have missed this opportunity, then you will wait for the price to come back near the EMS before you enter. So when it is here, because the price is quite far away from both these EMS, you will not take a trade because price is always mean reverting in nature. प्राइस हमेशा कोशिश यही करेगा कि वो ईएमए की तरफ मूव हो बिफोर इट अगेंस्ट कंटिन्यूज इज ओरिजिनल डायरेक्शन जर्नी. तो इधर आपको वेट तब तक करना था जब तक ये प्राइस बाउंस बैक करे, ईएमए में रेजिस्टेंस ले एंड देन नीचे आए. इस टाइम पे हम वापस ये लेवल ब्रेक होने के टाइम पे यू कैन ऑफ कोर्स टेक अनदर शॉट ऑन इट. और इसमें से एग्जिट कब करना था या फिर कब आपको बाई साइड ट्रेड पे जाना है? जब ये 10 EMA will cross above 20 EMA. Now let's say here what is happening, the 10 EMA is trying to cross above the 20 EMA. अभी देखो आगे जाके प्राइस तो नीचे गया है, ऊपर गया नहीं है, तो दैट माइट क्रिएट कंफ्यूजन इन योर माइंड राइट नाउ. देखो कोई भी सिग्नल हमेशा 100% करेक्ट होता नहीं है. एनी सेटअप हैज अराउंड 60-70% सक्सेस रेशियो. इन दिस पर्टिकुलर केस आपको आगे क्या हुआ है इस टाइम पे तो आपको पता था नहीं, राइट? इस टाइम पे जब चार्ट यहाँ पे था, आपको आगे नीचे गिरेगा कि ऊपर चला जाएगा आपको नहीं पता था. लेकिन आपको ये मैं यहाँ पे बोल रहा था कि यहाँ पे बाइंग अपॉर्चुनिटी बन रहा है, सो यू कैन एक्चुअली टेक अ बाई ट्रेड एट दिस पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम. हाउएवर सिंस द you know it failed and it came down. That is the importance of having a stop loss in your system. So if your stop loss was around this level, when the price came down, it would have triggered your stop loss and you would have been outside of this trade. Now, the next time when this again happened, here, you can of course take another trade. Now, please remember there are lots of ups and downs here because of lot of those Trump announcements which came out on automobiles, etc. Because of which there have been a lot of drastic movements in the stock price. However, if there are no external news which are impacting your price movement, you can expect more predictable indications from the EMS. See, इधर पे भी एक important चीज आपको याद रखना है. जैसे प्राइस यहाँ पे बहुत स्ट्रांगली ऊपर जा रहा है, आपको फोमो में इधर एंटर नहीं करना था क्योंकि प्राइस ऑलरेडी 10 और 20 EMA से बहुत दूर चला गया था. तो उधर से प्राइस जनरली नीचे ही आके EMA को टच करने की कोशिश हमेशा करता है. तो इधर आपको नहीं एंटर होना था, आपको एंटर हमेशा EMA के क्लोज होना है. When the price is just crossing the EMAs or taking a support on EMA, तब आपको बाई साइड में ट्रेड लेना है. On the other side, जब price is crossing below EMAs or taking a resistance at EMAs, तब आपको शॉर्ट साइड में ट्रेड लेना है. Okay. Bullish setup कब बनता है? When price, there are two conditions basically. When price is above both 10 and 20 EMAs and 10 EMA is above 20 EMA. अगर ऐसा सेटअप बनता है, then it's a bullish setup. आपको एंटर कब करना है? When there is a pullback and the price touches the EMA, takes support from there and tries to go up again, that is your condition for bullish entry. For example, अगर आप इधर आ जाते हो, इधर प्राइस ऊपर गया, इस लेवल पे आप देख सकते हो प्राइस ऊपर गया, फिर नीचे आके इधर सपोर्ट ले रहा है ईएमए पे, ये आपका एंट्री पॉइंट बन सकता था. शॉर्ट साइड ट्रेड पे क्या होगा? इधर प्राइस नीचे गया, फिर ऊपर गया, इधर रेजिस्टेंस ले रहा है, फिर नीचे आ रहा है, इस टाइम पे आप शॉर्ट ट्रेड पे आ सकते हो. बियरिश सेटअप इज कंप्लीटली द रिवर्स. व्हेन प्राइस इज बिलो, फॉर एग्जांपल ये पूरा फेज में प्राइस इज बिलो बोथ द ईएमएस, व्हिच इज अ बियरिश फेज. बियरिश सेटअप, इस फेज में आपको सिर्फ शॉर्ट ट्रेड्स ही लेना है, बाय ट्रेड नहीं लेना है. एंड द सेम इज ट्रू फॉर दिस एरिया. फॉर एग्जांपल, जब तक प्राइस बोथ 10 EMA एंड 20 EMA के ऊपर है, आपको शॉर्ट ट्रेड नहीं लेना है, आपको लॉन्ग साइड पे ट्रेड लेना है. Of course, as you mature and you get more experience in the market, you will be also be able to understand these pullback moves. और इधर पे भी आप शॉर्ट कर सकते हो, बट वो अभी नहीं करेंगे once you have got enough experience. Okay, what are the time frames to be used for EMAs? Of course, for intraday trading, you will be using a shorter time frame. For swing trading, you will be using a larger time frame. and this is common for all the indicators, so nothing new to be discussed about it. आपको हमेशा ट्रेंड एक हायर टाइम फ्रेम में समझना है. So for example, if you are doing intraday trading, you should understand your trend from a daily or hourly chart and EMAs, and then take the trade on a shorter time frame like 5 minute or 15-minute candles. Swing trading, you will have to look at weekly charts and daily charts to understand the direction, and then take the trade on a probably an hourly chart. What are the different mistakes that you must avoid while using EMAs? You should not use EMA when there is a sideways or consolidation zone. And we will understand this also when we study Bollinger Bands. When Bollinger Bands are constricting, that is an area when you should not use EMAs. For example, uh, in this particular chart, okay, this is a very trending chart, so I don't see anything right now. For example, this one. Here you see that uh, the price movements are not strong enough, and EMAs are very close to each other. तो इधर आपको ट्रेड नहीं लेना है, पर जैसे ही ये रेंज इधर ब्रेकआउट करके प्राइस ऐसा मूवमेंट देता है ऊपर, and there is a divergence happening between 10 and 20 EMA, then you can of course understand that there is trend plus momentum, and then you can enter the trend, ignoring the higher time frame trend. So higher time frames are always stronger, and we have discussed this multiple times. So if the trend on a higher time frame, let's say on a daily chart, is upwards, तब आपको smaller time frame में ट्रेड लेने के टाइम पे थोड़ा सतर्क रहना है, थोड़ा कॉशियस हो जाना है. So shorter time frame में, let's say daily time frame is positive in terms of EMA. However, in the shorter time frame, the hourly EMAs are going into a negative crossover. उस टाइम पे अगर आप लोग शॉर्ट ट्रेड ले रहे हो, ले सकते हो, ऐसा जरूरी नहीं है कि नहीं ले सकते, बिकॉज स्टॉक प्राइस कभी ऊपर सीधा नहीं चला जाता, करेक्शन होता है, फिर अप बढ़ जाता है, फिर करेक्शन, हायर हाइज एंड हायर लोज होता है, यू ऑलरेडी नो दिस. बट उस टाइम पे आपको बहुत एक्सपर्टीज चाहिए. You should clearly know what is your target, and it will be a short term target because the longer time frame is bullish. The shorter term time frame में shorter time frame will not stay bearish for a long time. So अगर शॉर्ट ट्रेड ले रहे हो, आपको बहुत जल्दी घुसना है, जल्दी निकल जाना है. The same is true. So basically, your trade becomes more stronger when your shorter time frame is aligning to your longer time frame indication, and then you can enter the trade with more confidence and in the direction in which the longer time frame is indicating. Only based on EMA, do not enter. Please always confirm an EMA crossover with volume. So if, let's say, a 10 EMA is crossing above 20 EMA and there's a lot of volume which is happening in the market at that point of time, that's a stronger confirmation compared to low volume crossover. Always look for context and confirmation. Okay, we are moving into the next indicator, which is called MACD, Moving Average Convergence Divergence. थ्योरी थोड़ा कॉम्प्लिकेटेड है, अगर आपको पूरा थ्योरी याद नहीं भी रखना है तो भी चल जाएगा. पॉइंट इज, when we apply this on the chart, we will understand how to utilize this for your trading purposes. Okay, ऐसे में एप्लीकेशन बहुत सिंपल है, अगर आप थ्योरी समझो नहीं भी समझो तो भी चल जाएगा. ओके, बट फिर भी we will quickly cover the theory, so that anybody who is interested in understanding also can learn from this. So there are two things that we will look at. One is the MACD line, and the other one is a signal line. So you see there are two lines here, MACD line and signal line, and the other one is the size of the histograms, which we will also come to. What is the MACD line? It is the difference between the 12 EMA and 26 EMA of the price, and the signal line is 9 EMA of the MACD line. So MACD line first is the difference between these two EMAs of the price, and the signal line is 9 EMA of the MACD line. थोड़ा complicated है, मैं समझ रहा हूँ, but it's fine. Let's just understand how to apply this. And MACD histogram will basically tell you that how much momentum is there. So this indicator is actually combining two very important things. One is the momentum and also the direction of the trade, and hence it becomes a very powerful indicator. However, in my trading setup, I do not use MACD. I already use a combination of EMAs and RSI, which gives me direction and momentum indications. So hence I don't use MACD. But if you are comfortable with using MACD, you can use MACD as well. Okay. When is there a bullish signal? When the MACD line crosses above signal line and the histogram turns positive, that is a bullish signal. Okay, when it is happening, let's say this blue line is a uh, MACD line and the red line is the signal line. Now, when the MACD line is crossing above the signal line and there is momentum here that you can see from your from the histograms, then it becomes a positive signal. When it becomes a bearish signal, when MACD line crosses below the signal line and the histogram turns negative, correct? Then it is a bearish signal. And you can also further confirm this by looking at uh, where is price at that point of time. For example, if price is above 10 EMA and 20 EMA and there is a positive crossover on MACD, it's a complete confirmed bullish signal. The same is true here. If the price is below 10 EMA or 20 EMA and there is a negative crossover, then it's a confirmed indicator that price is going to go down further. एंड ये जो लाइन है इधर, ये आपका जीरो लाइन है. सो अगर जीरो लाइन के आसपास ये सब क्रॉसओवर हो रहा है, उतना स्ट्रांग होता नहीं है वो. अगर it is happening with a distance from the zero line and there is a clear crossover like this and not intertwined like this clear crossover is a better signal than this. So ideally when the two lines are going uh, very close to each other and they are very close to the zero line, you should not take any trade here because price is not taking any direction and you might get stuck in the trade. Very important to understand if how MACD aligns to the 10-20 EMA strategy that we learned earlier in the class. As I said, that it is not necessary to apply all the indicators. Only using 10 and 20 can be strong enough along with RSI. However, if you want to use MACD along with EMA 10 and 20, then what you need to do? So basically, when 10 EMA crosses above 20 EMA and MACD turns bullish, high probability buy. If 10 EMA crosses below 20 EMA and MACD turns bearish, it's a strong signal, sell signal. And when the histogram is expanding, right? This histogram is expanding. Here you see there's a positive expansion. Here you see there is a negative expansion. An expanding histogram basically talks about momentum. जब ये हिस्टोग्राम्स बहुत छोटा 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 होता है इधर, तो उस टाइम पे मोमेंटम नहीं है, आपको एंटर नहीं करना है ट्रेड में. Time frame similar to what we have discussed for EMAs. Shorter time frame for intraday. You will always look at a slightly higher time frame to understand that overall direction and momentum, and then enter and exit on a smaller time frame. For swing trading, you should look at daily or weekly charts and indicators, and then enter the trade on a hourly basis. MACD best practices, always combine MACD with EMA 10 and 20 crossovers because that gives you better signal, or rather confirmation of signal. And price action and volume is always very, very important. Whenever you are using any indicator, it is not only about MACD, volume specifically must be there to indicate that there is more participation in the market. Other traders, specifically institutional traders, are trying to enter the market with more liquidity, and that is a signal that market probably will have a uh, more momentum in the direction that you wanted. And wait for clear crossover. Jab, these are where they are getting intertwined and not a clear crossover is happening, then you should avoid trading. MACD signals you should avoid in sideways market. Sideways market means where RSI is between 40 to 60 zone, or price is not taking a clear direction and it is range bound. It is hovering within a particular range. तब आपको MACD सिग्नल का यूटिलाइजेशन नहीं करना है. एंड सपोर्ट एंड रेजिस्टेंस भी आपको देखना पड़ेगा कि अगर फॉर एग्जांपल MACD is indicating a particular direction but the stock is at resistance, then you should be careful and you should not directly buy and wait to see what is happening after. So to summarize, use MACD as a momentum booster and not as a standalone signal. Okay, the next indicator that we will learn today is something called Supertrend. अभी मैं वापस बता देता हूं कि आपको सारे indicators चार्ट पे नहीं अप्लाई करना है. Of course, we will learn the real application of all these indicators on chart in the next episode. But आपको trade लेने के time पे you have to be always careful and ensure that you are using a setup which involves, let's say, 2 indicators at the most, 3 indicators to make your view. Because आप अगर 7 8 10 indicators लगा देते हो चार्ट पे, आपको चार्ट ही नहीं दिखेगा, आपको कुछ समझ में नहीं आएगा, and you will get totally confused when you are looking at too many indicators. So 2 indicators, price, volume is enough. Okay. So Supertrend is a very simple indicator which basically changes color in from green to red and red to green. When it is green, it is basically positive. It is asking you to buy. When it is red, it is basically negative. It is asking you to sell. So basically क्या हो रहा है यहाँ पे, आप देखिए, आप जैसे प्राइस इंडिकेटर को क्रॉस करके ऊपर चला जाता है, सुपर ट्रेंड प्राइस के नीचे आ जाता है and turns green. So whenever price is above super trend, it will be green in color and it indicates that there is bullish bias in the market. And when super trend is below the, when price is below the super trend, then super trend will change color into red. And till price stays below the super trend, you will have to understand that there is bearish bias in the market. As easy as that, as simple as that. सुपर ट्रेंड विल ऑल्सो, और देखो, आपको कोई भी इंडिकेटर बहुत दिन से स्टडी करना पड़ेगा. आफ्टर यू हैव अप्लाइड इन चार्ट्स, you must study 20-50 charts and how these charts and price is behaving near these indicators. That experience is very, very critical for utilizing the indicators in a rightful manner. So ये एक दिन में नहीं हो पाएगा. Once you practice over a period of time, over 6 months, you do 50 to 100 trades, then you will gradually understand that which indicator setup is best acting as per your trading style. And आपको धीरे धीरे समझ में आ भी जाएगा कि कौन सा इंडिकेटर कैसे सिग्नल देता है और कहाँ पे सिग्नल फॉल्स होता है, कहाँ पे सिग्नल ट्रू होता है, तो सारी चीज आपको धीरे धीरे समझ में आ जाएगा. But anyway, super trend is a very simple indicator, and super trend basically what I said, if price closes above super trend, it's a bullish signal. If below super trend, it's a bearish signal. Works best in trending market. And super trend can also act as a uh, resistance or support line. For example, super trend ऐसा जा रहा है, ठीक है, और प्राइस ऐसा ऐसा नीचे आ रहा है. सो इधर आके प्राइस यहाँ पे रेजिस्टेंस ले सकता है. सॉरी, अगर सुपर ट्रेंड नीचे जा रहा है तो प्राइस उसका ऊपर नहीं हो पाएगा, प्राइस उसका नीचे होगा. सो प्राइस ऐसे ऐसे जा रहा है, प्राइस ऊपर जा सकता है, इधर पे रेजिस्टेंस लेके फिर वापस नीचे आ सकता है. करेक्ट. सो दिस विल बी व्हेन प्राइस इज इन डाउन ट्रेंड. अप ट्रेंड पे क्या होगा, सुपर ट्रेंड ऐसे ऐसे ऊपर जाएगा, प्राइस इसके ऊपर ऊपर जाएगा एंड प्राइस इधर आके सपोर्ट ले सकता है, सपोर्ट लेके फिर वापस ऊपर जाएगा. करेक्ट. सो ये जहाँ पे सपोर्ट ले रहा है ये आपका बाइंग पॉइंट्स बन जाएगा, जहां पे यहाँ पे रेजिस्टेंस ले रहा है ये आपका सेलिंग पॉइंट्स बन जाएंगे. सिंपली बाद में चार्ट से समझेंगे. ओके, सेटिंग क्या यूज करना है. Create 10 multiply 3. This is the default setting on most platforms. So you can directly use it. A lot of people try to change this, and that is based on the trading style. Let's say algo traders might try to make it less sensitive because they don't want a lot of false trades to be triggered in the system. A manual trader can, of course, follow a more closer approach. But I think 10-3 is a quite a balanced approach, and we can stay here. And then, of course, the time period considerations are similar to all the indicators. जहाँ पे आपको longer time frame में पहले trend समझ लेना है और shorter time frame पे आपको analyze करके enter करना है. Trading with Supertrend. Supertrend always has to be combined with exponential moving averages or any other indicator. आप सिर्फ Supertrend के basis पे trade मत लेना. But I would say that Supertrend is one of the only indicators which is more comprehensive on its own. अगर आप ढंग से प्रैक्टिस करो तो सुपर ट्रेंड के बेसिस पे भी आप अपना ट्रेडिंग सेटअप बना सकते हो. बट आई स्टिल always use at least one or two things in combination, like volume, price action, RSI, maybe sometimes even Bollinger Bands, to ensure that whatever decision I'm taking with the help of Supertrend is uh, is aligned to what is going to happen probably. Okay, so like for example, we are saying that entry after the price has, let's say you want to do a buy side entry. So price has crossed above super trend and you have at least one more confirmation from, let's say, RSI or volume or anything else. An exit, the price goes below super trend and you have confirmation from any other indicator or price and volume and you can exit the trade. Short side पे उल्टा होगा, correct? Short side पे price when it crosses below super trend, then is your entry, and your exit is when price crosses above super trend. Super trend do's and don'ts. Do not use in choppy and sideways market. Choppy and sideways market में आपको trade करना ही नहीं चाहिए because you will get stuck and your money will get stuck as well and you will have unnecessary tension. So always आपको trading में enter करना है जब प्राइस में मोमेंटम आ रहा है. कोई भी डायरेक्शन हो सकता है, वेदर बाय साइड में, शॉर्ट साइड पे. whenever there is a momentum which is coming in price and the indicators and volume etc are suggesting that there is momentum, तब आपको trades लेने हैं. This one, do not tap on every signal without validation, and we have talked about this. Take validation from other indicators and price, volume, etc., etc. ये बहुत important point है. Wait for a candle close above or below super trend, whatever the case is. For example, ऐसा ऐसा price, ऐसा ऐसा super trend ऊपर जा रहा है. Price ऐसा 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 भी ऊपर जा रहा है. फिर इधर price आता है, super trend को break करता है. अब तुरंत exit नहीं कर लोगे. For example, if you are on a buy trade, you are not going to exit immediately. You will wait for this particular candle, whatever candle this is, to close below the super trend. Otherwise क्या होगा? This can be a smart money liquidity hunting concept. So price is just going below the super trend to collect liquidity from here. We have learned about this concept earlier on. ये लिक्विडिटी कलेक्ट करके फिर वापस चला जाएगा ऊपर, तो आप फालतू में एग्जिट हो जाओगे. या फिर प्राइस ऐसे नीचे जा रहा है और आप यहाँ पे शॉर्ट ट्रेड में बैठ गए कैंडल क्लोज होने के पहले, तो भी यू विल जस्ट बी अ विक्टिम ऑफ द लिक्विडिटी हंट विच इज बीइंग कैरिड आउट बाय स्मार्ट मनी. तो कभी भी आपको अगर बाइंग भी करना है, फॉर एग्जाम्पल सुपर ट्रेंड ऐसा ऐसा नीचे जा रहा है और प्राइस ऐसा ऐसा नीचे जा रहा है, ठीक है, और इधर प्राइस इसको क्रॉस करके ऊपर जाने का कोशिश कर रहा है और आपको लगा कि चलो ये तो सुपर ट्रेंड को ब्रेक कर दिया है, अब यहाँ पे बाइंग बनता है और आपने बाई कर लिया, उधर आप धोखा खा सकते हो. आपको हमेशा वेट करना है कि कैंडल जो है, कैंडल यहाँ पे सुपर ट्रेंड के ऊपर क्लोज हो. आइडियली इट शुड गो अप लाइक दिस, डू अ लिटिल रिट्रेसमेंट, टेक सपोर्ट फ्रॉम सुपर ट्रेंड, उसके बाद जब ऊपर जा रहा है तब आप एंटर हो, देन इट विल बी अ मच बेटर ट्रेड and you will have a confirmed a lot of confidence on your decision that you have taken. Okay, the last indicator that we will learn today is our Bollinger Bands. Okay. So if you have already learned a bit of, let's say, mathematics and statistics in your school or university, you will know this thing for sure, that in a normal data distribution, 95% of data points always lie between a standard deviation and two, uh, the mean and the two standard deviations. So if this is the mean of the data set, and if you add two standard deviation and you subtract two standard deviation, all data points will lie within this range. That is what it says. And this is the same concept for Bollinger Band. So the middle line, this red line in a Bollinger Band, is a 20-day simple moving average or 20-period simple moving average, depending on the time frame that you're using. The upper band is simple moving average plus two standard deviations. Lower band is simple moving average minus two standard deviations. So it basically, the concept is that price will always try to stay or within these two bands. Okay. तो इसका फिर टू बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट यूटिलाइजेशन आ जाता है विच वी विल ट्राई टू लर्न गोइंग अहेड. Okay, the first utilization is support and resistance concept. The price is going and touching the upper band, price might be overbought. It can take a resistance from there and try to move towards the lower side. Correct? And इधर lower side पे जहां पे आया, इधर पे support लिया and it price again went up. So this is a support resistance concept because price will always try to stay within the Bollinger Band. So that is how you can take a confirmation on uh, whether price is, there will be reversal in the direction of price and you can take a trade based on that. Now, another thing. So we talked about reversal. This point we covered that if price is touching the upper band, there can be a possibility that price will come down towards the lower band and you can take a short trade. When price is at a lower band, there can be a probability that price will move upwards and you can take a long trade. However, there is another concept that you must learn. Otherwise, you will make mistakes, which is the squeeze strategy. So इधर देखिए, मैंने क्या बोला था कि प्राइस जैसे लोअर बैंड को टच करता है उसके बाद प्राइस को ऊपर चला जाना चाहिए था, बट यहाँ पे प्राइस नीचे की तरफ आ गया. इधर भी आप देखिए, प्राइस जब नीचे आया उसके बाद प्राइस को ऊपर जाना चाहिए था, बट प्राइस नीचे की तरफ आ गया. तो इधर आपका ये स्ट्रैटेजी जो पहले हमने डिस्कस किया काम नहीं कर रहा है. तो इसका मतलब क्या है कि इधर पे हमको एक सेकंड चीज समझना पड़ेगा. वी विल हैव टू लर्न अनदर थिंग, राइट, विच इज द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ बॉलिंजर बैंड स्क्वीजिंग. सो ये जो कॉन्सेप्ट था that price will take a resistance and support from lower and upper end, it will majorly work when Bollinger Band is in a expanded format. Okay, so price ऐसा जाता है फिर इधर आता है ऐसा ऐसा करके जाए. But let's say Bollinger Band ऐसा करके थोड़ा सा constrict होता है. फिर price is coming towards the bottom level and it is stagnating here. Bollinger Band is squeezing. It basically means after a squeeze, the Bollinger Band generally tends to expand again. जब expansion होगा, the price can follow the expanded version. So then it no longer is acting as a support. The expansion of the Bollinger Band is actually taking price in a certain direction with a lot of momentum. तो ये आपको हमेशा याद रखना है. So these are the two different uses of Bollinger Band. एक बार फिर से समझाता हूं मैं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल यहाँ पे बॉलिंजर बैंड एक्सपैंडेड है ऑलरेडी, करेक्ट. सो इधर पे जब प्राइस ऊपर जाके बॉलिंजर बैंड को टच किया, यू कैन एक्सपेक्ट द प्राइस टू कम डाउन, बट ऑलवेज रिमेंबर ऐसा ब्लाइंडली ट्रेड नहीं ले लेना है कि ऊपर जाके बॉलिंजर बैंड को टच किया और आपने ट्रेड ले लिया. नहीं, इधर आपको वीकनेस ढूंढना है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल इधर आपको दिख रहा है एक एक बुलिश सॉरी बेरिश overwhelming candle has been formed. So this particular candle is showing you that there is selling which is happening, and this can be your point for entering a short trade. However, ये जगह पे यहाँ पे बॉलिंजर बैंड, ये देखो यहाँ पे आके कॉन्स्ट्रिक्ट हो गया। इधर आपको सेम कॉन्सेप्ट नहीं चलेगा। सो यहाँ पे प्राइस इज स्टैग्नेटिंग, इट इज गेटिंग स्टक इन अ पर्टिकुलर जोन। तो इधर यू विल हैव टू वेट फॉर द बॉलिंजर बैंड टू एक्सप्लोड। एंड एज सुन एज बॉलिंजर बैंड एक्सप्लोडेड, यू सॉ दैट द प्राइस इज एक्चुअली टेकिंग अ डाउनवर्ड डायरेक्शन। इधर पे आपको फिर से शॉर्ट ट्रेड ही लेना था व्हेन देयर इज अ बॉलिंजर बैंड explosion. Correct? So there are two strategies. Once again, confirming when the Bollinger Band is in an expanded format, it can act as support and resistance at top and bottom. When Bollinger Band has squeezed, that basically means price is now stuck in a small zone, and you will generally see that the RSI at this point of time will be between 40 and 60. After that, you can expect the Bollinger Band expand, and then price will take one particular direction uh, along one boundary of the Bollinger Band, and it will then move very very fast. And this is called the uh, ex- um, breakaway expansion of a Bollinger Band. Cool. Okay, some of the mistakes that we will try to avoid with Bollinger Band, which I already mentioned, that don't blindly short when price has reached the upper band, or don't blindly buy when price has reached the lower band. So you will have to take confirmation from overall price action, from market structure, from other indicators, volume and trend, etc., etc. You will have to consider before you can do this. However, some of the things that you can use Bollinger Band as a dynamic support and resistance, of course, if it is not in a a squeezed condition, and mean reversion, which basically means if price has touched the upper band or it is now outside of the Bollinger Band, you can expect the price to come to the Bollinger Band. By the way, this one particular line, this 20 SMA, which is the midpoint of the Bollinger Band, can also act as support or resistance. You see, in this particular case, it acted as a resistance. Uh, Here also it acted as a resistance. Here it acted as a support, and so on and so forth. तो ये सारे चीज तुरंत एकदम क्लियर नहीं हो जाएगा। मोटा मोटा हमने थ्योरी कवर किया। नाउ वी विल गो टू द चार्ट्स एंड वी विल लर्न द एप्लीकेशन। उसके बाद आपको प्रैक्टिस करते रहना है। यू विल हैव टू स्टडी एटलीस्ट 100 charts by putting Bollinger Band, RSI, EMAs, and once you do that, gradually it will start making sense to you that how three, four different things can come together to give you a clear view about trading.